I want you to imagine you've got a bottle of water in your hand, fresh water, and you pour this bottle of water out into a bowl in your garden, and you leave that water there. 1 day passes, 2 days pass, 3 days pass, 1 week passes, 2 weeks pass, 1 month passes. What eventually happens to that water that you have poured out from the bottle of water that was once fresh, Evian, mineral water, Highland Spring, whatever it may be? What will inevitably and inevitably happen to that water? We all know what will happen to it. It will stagnate. It will become rancid. It will no longer be drinkable. And eventually it will become the home of mosquito eggs or other such parasites. It will start to grow some type of furry moss and become generally disgusting. You are the water that I have just referred to in that bottle. You are the water that has been poured out into the bowl. And if you don't be careful, you will become putrid, rancid, undrinkable, filth. What do I mean? How does fresh water stay fresh? How does water from a stream remain drinkable, suitable for human consumption? It remains drinkable, it remains suitable for human consumption because it is constantly flowing. It's constantly flowing. It never stops in one place permanently. It is constantly subjected to change, a flow. I want you to imagine a car from 10 years ago. Well, let's go a little bit further back in time. Some of you are very young, so you might not be able to, but type it on Google. Type Nissan Micra 1995. Have a look at that car. Or let's make it an even more premium car. Right, BMW 5 Series 1995. Have a look at that car. Does that look like a car that you desire to own? Your dream car? A car that you'd really love to own? Does that 1995 model BMW 5 Series look like something you would aspire and work hard for to be able to own one day? Or do you prefer to own the BMW 5 Series 2022 model? Which one is more of a motivating driving force for you to strive for and achieve and to be able to buy? The 2022 model, obviously. But guess what? There was a kid your age 20 years ago, or a bit more than that now, nearly 30 years ago, who aspired, who had a dream to be able to buy the 1995 BMW 5 Series. What happened? Tell me what happened. Do you know what happened? That 1995 model is no longer desirable anymore. Why? Because there are newer models that have changed, evolved, that are more desirable. The 1995 BMW 5 Series has reinvented itself. The title of today's video. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know how many BMW 5 Series models we've had since then, but I know that there's been quite a few shape changes. You, throughout the course of your lifetime, must go through a process of shape changing. You must reinvent yourself. And what was once desirable, successful, will eventually be the cause of your demise. For those of you who are old enough, you will remember Nokia phones. I certainly do. I remember Nokia was all the rage All of the 8210, 8310, 7210, 7250, 6210, 6110, Bluetooth ones. What happened to Nokia? They failed to evolve. They failed to change. They failed to reinvent themselves. And their penance was to be banished to the realm of irrelevance. Nobody cares about Nokia anymore. Nokia makes smartphones. Nobody cares, bruv. Why? And I know one of you are going to put in the comments right now, but I've got a Nokia smartphone. Bruv, why do you have a Nokia smartphone? That is not a flex. Don't put that in the comments. Make sure it's a ghost account that you're typing from. They failed to reinvent themselves. Not only must you reinvent yourself in order to remain relevant, but you must kill your own secret sauce that has enabled you to be successful so far. Big major corporations do this all the time. They are actively, the successful ones, Apple is a good example, they are actively looking for ways to kill their best-selling products. Apple went out of their way to kill the iPod. They knew that they needed to kill the product, despite how successful it was. Why? Because they could see the tide was turning, the wind was changing. People were leaning more towards the new era of smartphones, which would render an iPod useless. What's the point in having an iPod when you can have an iPod and an iPhone in the same device? Why have two devices when you can have one? You must kill. Not only must you develop and change and constantly evolve yourself, you must have the courage to be able to kill what's currently working for you right now in this moment. And you know what the punishment is if you don't? You will become a caricature of yourself. You will become a laughing stock. What was once admired, desired, revered, eventually becomes comical, laughable, weird. The BMW 1995 5 Series. Reinvent yourself. I want you to think of what type of person you want to become and take inspiration from figures. Take inspiration from online figures, from historical figures, from different individuals that you have an affinity towards, that you feel you have some type of connection towards, that you can resonate with their personality because you feel you share similar personality traits. Don't try and be like someone that is extremely different to you. I could never be an empath. I could never be an Oprah Winfrey equivalent. I score very low in empathy. I didn't even need to do a personality test to know that. I know I score low in empathy. It's actually my lowest score when I did a personality test. I scored, the last one was empathy. So I ain't trying to be like no Oprah Winfrey out here, bro. But there are other figures that I try to model in my behavior. I take inspiration from their characters, from their personality traits, and I try and integrate it and build myself. You need to do the same. Don't allow the masses to dictate what you should become or how you should become. You need to build this person yourself, and you need to have the courage to be able to build it, especially in the face of adversity. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't take on board constructive criticism. Of course you should. There will be times when you make mistakes. There will be times when you might need to abandon a certain quality or attribute that you have integrated into your personality. But regardless, you need to evolve. And this process of abandonment is just like a car manufacturing company. When they make new models of cars, they experiment with stuff. They release beta versions of these vehicles, and they see and test what's working, what's not working. You must do the same with yourself. You need to integrate new things into your personality and see what works for you, what doesn't work for you, just like a car. Just like a car that's being built. But the bottom line is this. If you don't reinvent yourself and go through the process of actively trying to reinvent yourself continually and eventually killing what was once working for you to replace it with something else, then you will be left behind and forgotten. The best athletes in the world, they were able to reinvent themselves. Roger Federer, he reinvented himself when he moved from a smaller racket head in his late 20s to a bigger racket head in his early 30s. Why? Bigger racket heads produce greater force. You can hit the ball harder, but they're more finicky to get used to if you've been playing with a smaller racket head your entire career. Cristiano Ronaldo reinvented himself. He was that guy that you see busting down the wings, skills, stepovers, cuts, all sorts, left and right. He's no longer that guy. In fact, I will take that a step further. He is nowhere near as entertaining to watch today or in the past few years as he was when he was playing for Man United in the mid to late 2000s. He was far more entertaining to watch then. But guess what? He's a better player now. Why? He scores more goals, more efficient, evolved. He evolved. He had to evolve. Athletes have to evolve. If they don't, do you know what their penance is? They get cut from the team. It's the ultimate punishment because nobody wants them. If they don't evolve and adapt with their bodies as their bodies begin to age and pick up more injuries and they get older, as we all do, their penance is to be cut from a team. Evolve. The best athletes do it. Very few entertainers, celebrities have been able to successfully achieve this. A couple come to mind. Eminem, he was able to evolve himself. Madonna, she's been able to evolve herself and keep up with the trends. And I know these are examples from the entertainment industry that frankly don't concern us much as Muslims, but they have evolved. The rest of them, I don't even remember their names. And neither do you.